Welcome to Cambridge House Live. I'm Bridgitte Anderson and I am joined by Thomas Drolet, the president of Drolet Energy. Welcome and thank you for being here.
Thank you, Bridgitte. My pleasure.
Now, you are an expert when it comes to energy, and there's a lot of discussion on the kind of methods that are used to extract energy globally. What do you think about oil? Is it still the most important commodity?
Today, oil is definitely, certainly in North America and the majority of the industrialized world, the energy commodity of note. It's going to be followed up quickly with natural gas and others, but today, oil is number one.
I want to talk to you about natural gas, but staying with oil, how important is the extraction of oil from the oil sands? How important is that to Canada?
Well, if you look at the effect of oil sands availability in Canada, first of all, it's an excellent major source of oil. Yes, it's heavy, it has to be refined, but it leads, as all refining processes, to a very good quality fuel. It can be piped across Canada and is. It's also access to the US, and of course the major event recently is the Keystone Pipeline issue. By the way, I think a tragic happening of political nature, not of an industrial nature. But I do believe that the Keystone Pipeline will get built.
You do?
I do, absolutely. But it's been tragically stopped because of politics of an election in November of 2012.
So on a different level, we are dealing here in Canada with an issue of a pipeline as well, the Gateway Pipeline, and that is going through all kinds of environmental processes right now and hearings. Where do you think that stands, and how important is the Gateway Pipeline to Canada's economic security?
Well, the more I think about our fuel and its sourcing here in Alberta, Saskatchewan, now Manitoba, as a Canadian, getting that out to markets is our number one issue. So the Northern Gateway Pipeline, the Keystone Pipeline, other pipelines to come, I really hope they get built and built quickly. The real markets of note are going to be the Asian markets. China, Japan definitely needs more natural gas and coal because of the event with Fukushima, but getting more pipelines to the coast, west coast, and south is a major need for the Canadian enterprise.
Is North America at risk of losing out if we don't act quickly enough when it comes to the Asian markets?
No, I don't think that we'll lose out. If the point is that the delay is going to cause others to step in, I think others have problems. The Middle East has instability problems. Indonesia, another major source of natural gas. Oil coming from Australia. All of those have their own difficulties. So I wouldn't put us any worse off than anywhere else. No, I think the delay will still have the markets open for us.
Looking at natural gas now, you're bullish on natural gas. What do you think the main challenges are for Canada and the US?
Well, the major opportunity before we get to the challenges is this absolutely fantastic technology breakthrough called horizontal drilling and fracking, which is now going to be able to release gas from the shale formations that are all over. I call it the democratic energy source. You know, heretofore, I'll take Alberta just as an example. Everything to do with oil was Alberta. Now we're finding natural gas in Saskatchewan, in Manitoba, in British Columbia. In the States, it was a matter of just Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma. Now natural gas through shale sourcing is all over the US. There's sedimentary basins everywhere.
Yet you're talking about the opportunity. However, the media coverage, particularly in the last year, is becoming increasingly more critical of the process. Residents speaking out about environmental concerns and those kinds of issues. So how do people then, how is that criticism, how do you put that to bed?
Okay, here I'm going to make a suggestion that the industry is at somewhat of a big fault. The industry's been very closed with its technology and the chemicals they use in the fracking fluid. I would argue that the industry has to open up and be more transparent in order to get the public's confidence. The incidents we've seen in terms of water being lit with a match, you know, and all of these sorts of things. Those are issues related to a leak of gas from the wellbore. The gas is not coming up from 2 miles down where it's being fracked and released. It's when it comes up the wellbore. And there's been some cases of shoddy mechanical failures, leaks, that's allowed the gas to get into the water table close to the surface. So the answer is better regulation, better quality control, better transparency by the industry, and I think they'll win their support from the public if they do that.
Now, you're also bullish on nuclear energy, and you have seen a lot of incidents over the past years. You were in Japan, actually, and you saw what happened with Fukushima. How can you be bullish on nuclear energy when you see things like that happen?
Okay, I'm bullish on nuclear energy for the middle and longer term, but I'm sorry to say, Bridgitte, that as a person that's been involved in the nuclear industry since I was 26 years old, I'm sad to say that it's going to undergo a pause for a while until we search some things out that need fixing. Here's my argument. What happened at Fukushima was an act of nature. Nature, a 9.0 earthquake, a tsunami of 45 feet tall wall of water washed over a nuclear power plant, fused some electrical supply systems that led to meltdown in 3 of the 4 units at Fukushima Daiichi. The location of units, the fact that we store spent fuel in water-filled bays, the fact that we don't have our diesel generator emergency sets high up rather than low down where things of a wall of water nature could get you. We need to do some fixing in the industry. But I'm a believer in the old saying of Mr. Miyagi, you know, wax on, wax off fame film, that you need balance in an energy supply system. So I want to see the oil still used. I want to see natural gas come up big time. We've talked about nuclear energy has a component. It's the best base load power supply system we've got today.
So what do you think of Germany then, saying that they're going to get out of the nuclear energy business? Is that realistic?
It's realistic, but it's rather ironic, Bridgitte, that they're going to replace the majority of their electricity with electricity imports from the French nuclear power system, from the Czechoslovakian nuclear power system, from the Polish nuclear power system, from the British nuclear power system. They're going to divert some of those nuclear power sources to feed the requirements of Germany as they shut down the 17 nuclear power plants. I find it kind of ironic. What do I think will actually happen? I think some of those plants will be shut down because the German public right now is very fearful of nuclear power. But I think when the time comes in 2020 to 2024, that you may find that some of the plants are still kept on.
And looking at uranium, Canada is a dominant player in uranium. Do you think there's still new discoveries to be made here in this country?
Oh, yes, I do. If you look at uranium supply, the big picture, worldwide today, about 2/3 of the annual requirements for the 430 reactors we have now come from uranium mines, be it in Canada, Kazakhstan, South Africa, US, wherever, Australia. But 1/3 of that uranium supply comes from ex-bomb material from Russia that's feeding in. That's coming to an end. Almost all of the bomb available highly enriched uranium, load down to reactor enriched uranium, is about to come to an end in a year's time. So that component of 1/3 just to feed the reactors we have now must come from new supplies. So filling out the supply for today is going to be a task. And if you believe, as I do, that China and India and a few other countries will continue with massive nuclear power building programs, then I think we're going to have to find a lot more uranium. So my long answer to your short question is that there is a very healthy future for Athabasca uranium type supplies.
Sounds like there's a healthy future for natural resources Canada-wide. Thomas Drolet, thank you very much for joining me.
You're welcome.